My father told me I wasn't expected for Christmas. Not invited. Not welcome. Just not expected. I smiled, got in my car, and drove home. 2 days later, I woke up to 18 missed calls from him, 12 voicemails, and a text that said, "Please call me back now." I didn't return any of them. Instead, I called my attorney and told him to proceed with the eviction paperwork. Then I canceled the mortgage payment I'd been making on my father's house for the past 4 years. The house he thought he owned. The house that was actually mine. What my father didn't know, what nobody in my family knew, was that I'd bought that house outright in 2019. Cash purchase. $350,000. I'd been paying the mortgage into a separate account each month, letting him think he was building equity, letting him think he was the homeowner. All while I watched and waited to see who he really was when he thought I couldn't do anything about it. Before I tell you what happened when I finally showed up to that Christmas dinner with my lawyer and the property deed, you need to understand why I spent 4 years playing this game. Because if you've ever had a parent choose someone new over you, if you've ever been replaced by a shinier version of family, you'll understand why I did what I did. Stick with me here because what happened next didn't just change Christmas, it changed everything I thought I knew about blood and loyalty. My mother died when I was 26. Cancer. Brutal, fast, merciless. She lasted 8 months from diagnosis to funeral. During those 8 months, my father was attentive, loving, present. He held her hand through chemo. He slept in the hospital chair. He promised her he'd take care of me and my sister. 3 months after Mom died, he met Linda at a grief support group. Linda was 42, blonde, energetic in that aggressive way some people mistake for personality. She'd lost her husband to a heart attack. Within 6 months, she'd moved into my childhood home. Within a year, she'd redecorated every room, erasing every trace of my mother. I'm 32 now. I work in commercial real estate development, but I keep that quiet. When people ask what I do, I say, property management, and let them assume I'm a superintendent or maintenance guy. I drive a 2015 Toyota Camry. I live in a modest 2-bedroom apartment in a decent but not fancy neighborhood. I wear jeans and hoodies most days. What I don't tell people is that I own 17 properties across 3 states worth about $4 million combined. My monthly income from rentals alone is $38,000. I inherited $200,000 from my mother's life insurance and turned it into an empire by living cheap and investing smart. Mom taught me that true worth isn't measured in dollars. She came from money but married my dad when he was a struggling contractor. She never flaunted wealth, never made people feel small. Let people show you who they are when they think you're just like them, she'd say. That's when you see the truth. I took that lesson to heart maybe too literally. When my dad started dating Linda seriously in 2019, he called me in a panic. He and Mom had owned their house jointly, but after her death and the medical bills, he was drowning. The mortgage was underwater. He was 3 months behind. The bank was starting foreclosure proceedings. He needed $80,000 or he'd lose everything. My sister Rachel was in graduate school, completely broke. I was the only one who could help. I told him I'd figure something out. What I figured out was that I'd buy the house outright from the bank at auction, but I wouldn't tell him. I'd let him think I'd helped him negotiate with the bank, that he still owned it, that he was making payments to me to cover what I'd loaned him. The monthly payment I asked for, $1,500, was less than his mortgage had been. Manageable. Reasonable. He was grateful. Linda was ecstatic. They threw a little celebration dinner, just the 3 of them at the house. My sister and I weren't invited. We want to keep it small, Linda explained. Just immediate family. That was the first crack. I let it go. Linda was new. She was probably nervous. I told myself I was being paranoid. The second crack came at Thanksgiving 2019. Linda's 2 adult children from her first marriage joined us. Tyler was 24, worked in his uncle's insurance office, drove a BMW his mom had co-signed for. Brittany was 22, finding herself, between jobs, living in Linda's old condo rent-free. At dinner, Linda raised her glass. "I'm so grateful for this beautiful family," she said, smiling at my father. "And I'm especially grateful that we have this gorgeous home to celebrate in. Jim, you've worked so hard to build this life. To build this home. Your house is the heart of this family. Your house. Not our house. Not the house that my mother picked out, that my mother decorated, that my mother died in. Your house. My father's house." Like she'd already claimed it. My father beamed at her. "I couldn't have done it without you, honey." I watched Tyler and Brittany exchange a look across the table. Something knowing. Something satisfied. My sister Rachel kicked me under the table, her eyes wide. She'd seen it too. The third crack came in February 2020. My father called to tell me he wouldn't need my help with the house payment that month. Linda and I are combining finances, he explained. She's got some savings and we're going to pay off the loan faster. We're thinking of refinancing too, getting a better rate. Dad, you can't refinance, I said carefully. Remember, the terms of our agreement. I know, I need your permission or whatever. But I've been thinking, maybe it's time to take my name off your loan and put it back in my name. Get a real mortgage again. I don't want to keep taking money from my son, you know? It doesn't feel right. My stomach dropped. He wanted to refinance. He wanted his name on a title I owned. He thought the house was his to refinance. Let me look into that, I said. See what's possible. Don't do anything yet. Sure. Linda's just excited to really make this place ours, you know? Ours. Not his. Ours. Linda's and his. I hung up and immediately called my real estate attorney, Marcus Webb. Marcus had helped me structure the original purchase. They're trying to refinance, I told him. He thinks he owns it. He doesn't, Marcus said flatly. You own it. The deed is in your name. Has been since the auction. He's been making payments to you under what he thinks is a loan agreement, but legally, he's been paying you rent. Could Linda try to claim squatter's rights or something? In California? After 4 years of you accepting regular payments? No. You've got a paper trail proving landlord-tenant relationship. She's got nothing. The fourth crack was the one that shattered everything. October 2023. My sister called me crying. She'd driven to Dad's house for his birthday, a surprise visit with a homemade cake. Linda answered the door. We're not doing birthdays with extended family anymore, Linda said. It's too much chaos. Just immediate family from now on. You understand? Extended family. My sister. My mother's daughter. Extended family. Rachel stood on that porch holding a birthday cake, looking through the doorway at Tyler and Brittany sitting at our mother's dining table, laughing with our father. The man who'd promised our dying mother he'd take care of us. I'm his daughter, Rachel said quietly. And Tyler and Brittany are his kids now too, Linda replied. He can't play favorites. It's not fair to them. Rachel left the cake on the porch and drove to my apartment. We sat on my couch while she cried for 2 hours. I don't understand, she kept saying. I don't understand what we did wrong. I started documenting everything that night. Created a spreadsheet tracking every payment my father made on the house. Every interaction we'd had since Linda arrived. Every holiday we'd been excluded from. Every family photo on Linda's Facebook that featured Tyler and Brittany but not us. 3 weeks ago, the fifth crack became an avalanche. I called my father to ask about Christmas plans. Did he want me to bring anything? What time should Rachel and I arrive? There was a long pause. Actually, son, about Christmas. Linda and I have been talking. We're keeping it really small this year. Just us and her kids. We're starting some new traditions, you know? Building our new family. Our new family, I repeated slowly. You understand, right? You're 32. Rachel's 29. You're adults now. You've got your own lives. Tyler and Brittany are still young, still building their lives. They need the family support more. Linda thinks it's important we focus on them right now. Something cold settled in my chest. So Rachel and I aren't invited to Christmas. Not invited, exactly. Just, not expected. We're not doing a big thing. It's not personal. Not personal, I said. Okay, Dad. I understand. Great. I knew you'd get it. You're so easygoing, always have been. That's what I love about you, kiddo. You just roll with things. I hung up. Sat in my car in the grocery store parking lot for 20 minutes. Then I smiled, started the engine, and drove home. That night, I pulled out every document related to the house. Property deed in my name. Proof of purchase at auction. 4 years of bank statements showing his monthly mortgage payments depositing into my account. 4 years of rent essentially paid, establishing landlord-tenant relationship. Text messages where I'd referred to the house, not your house. I called Marcus. I want to stop paying the mortgage. I want them out. The house is paid off, Marcus reminded me. You bought it cash. There is no mortgage. You've been putting $1,500 monthly into a savings account as a paper trail. I know. But he thinks he's paying a mortgage. He thinks he's building equity. What happens when that payment doesn't get made? To the bank? Nothing. The bank doesn't own the house. You do. To him? He'll panic. Think he's about to lose the house. But legally, he can't lose what he doesn't own. How fast can we serve eviction papers? Marcus was quiet for a moment. You're sure about this? He chose Linda's kids over his own kids for Christmas. After promising our dying mother he'd take care of us. Yeah, I'm sure. I can have papers drawn up by Monday. You need to give him 60 days notice in California, but I can start the process. I didn't cancel the payment yet. I wanted to see if he'd call. If he'd reach out. If he'd realize what he'd done. 2 days after our conversation, my phone lit up at 7 a.m. 18 missed calls. 12 voicemails. The first voicemail was confused. "Hey, son, the mortgage payment didn't go through this month. Can you check on that?" By voicemail 6, he was panicking. "The bank is going to foreclose. Why didn't you tell me there was a problem? Call me back." By voicemail 12, Linda was on the phone. "This is incredibly irresponsible. Your father trusted you to handle this loan. If we lose this house because of your negligence, we'll sue you for everything you have." I saved every voicemail. Screenshot every text. Documented everything. Then I called Marcus. "Draw up the papers." The next 3 weeks, I became a detective investigating my own father. I pulled property records showing the house was titled solely in my name. I organized 4 years of bank statements into a color-coded binder, green highlights for every payment received, yellow highlights for every time I'd referred to it as my property in emails. I created a timeline of every holiday we'd been excluded from, every family event where Tyler and Brittany were invited but Rachel and I weren't. I found Linda's Facebook posts dating back to 2020. In one post from February 2021, she'd written, "So grateful Jim finally paid off his mortgage. We're completely debt-free and own our home outright. House with garden red heart #blessed #homeowners #debt-free. Own our home outright." She thought they owned it. She'd posted it publicly. I screenshot everything. I discovered something else interesting. Linda had been married 3 times, not once. Her first husband died of a heart attack, leaving her a small life insurance policy. Her second husband divorced her after 2 years, citing financial infidelity. She'd opened credit cards in his name without permission. Her third husband was my father. I hired a private investigator to look into Linda's finances. What he found was revealing. She was drowning in debt. Credit cards maxed out. A car payment she was 3 months behind on. She'd borrowed money from Tyler and Brittany that she hadn't paid back. She had a judgment against her from a previous landlord for unpaid rent and property damage. But none of that was the most damaging discovery. The investigator found that Linda had been searching online for how to add your name to your spouse's house deed and can a new wife claim house from husband's children. She'd consulted with 2 different real estate attorneys about her options regarding my father's property. She'd even contacted a title company asking about correcting a property deed that accidentally didn't include a spouse's name. She was planning to steal the house. Literally trying to figure out how to add her name to a deed for a property she didn't own, had never owned, and had no legal claim to. I documented everything. Created a presentation deck like I was pitching a business deal. Property records. Payment histories. Timeline of exclusion. Linda's financial history. Her online searches. Her consultations with attorneys. Everything. The investigator also revealed that Tyler and Brittany knew about Linda's plan. He'd photographed them at a Starbucks with Linda, looking at printed property documents, discussing how, once we get the house in Mom's name, we'll be set. Brittany had literally said, "It's so much nicer than our apartment. I can't wait until we can move in." They were planning to take the house. Cut my father out eventually, probably after draining whatever assets he had. They saw him as a meal ticket. An old man they could manipulate and rob. My father, who'd promised my dying mother he'd protect us. Who'd chosen these con artists over his own children? Who'd told me I wasn't expected for Christmas? Marcus served the eviction papers on December 20th. 60-day notice to vacate. Included all documentation proving I owned the house, that they'd been paying rent, that they had no legal claim to the property. The notice was delivered by a process server at 11 a.m. on a Thursday. My father called me 17 times that afternoon. I didn't answer. He left voicemails ranging from confused to desperate to angry. Linda left messages threatening to sue me, calling me ungrateful, saying I was destroying my father's life. Tyler actually texted me, "Yo, this is messed up. Your dad's been good to you. Why would you do this to him? We're family." I didn't respond to any of them. Christmas Eve arrived. My father sent a text, "Please come tomorrow. We need to talk about the house. This is a misunderstanding. Linda is very upset. Please, son. It's Christmas." I responded with one sentence, "I'll be there at 2 p.m. Don't eat without me." Christmas Day, I got dressed carefully. Nice slacks, button-down shirt, sport coat. I looked professional. Serious. I picked up Rachel from her apartment. She looked terrified. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. Mom died asking him to take care of us. He chose a con artist and her grifter kids instead. "Yeah, I'm sure." We arrived at 2 p.m. exactly. I had a leather briefcase with all my documentation. Rachel had her phone ready to record if things went sideways. My father answered the door looking 10 years older than the last time I'd seen him. "Son," he said, relief flooding his face. "Thank God. Come in, come in. We need to talk about this house thing. There's been a terrible mistake." Linda appeared behind him, arms crossed. Tyler and Brittany were on the couch, looking uncomfortable. The dining table was set for 6. "Actually, there hasn't been a mistake," I said calmly. "But before we discuss the house, I need to show you something. All of you." I pulled out my laptop, connected it to their TV. Pulled up my presentation. My father's face went pale. "This is the property deed for this house," I said, displaying the document on the screen. "As you can see, the sole owner is me. Has been since February 2019 when I purchased it at auction for $350,000. Cash." Linda's face went white. "That's not possible. Jim owns this house." "No, Linda. Jim has been paying me rent disguised as mortgage payments. $1,500 monthly for 4 years. $72,000 total. Which I've been depositing into a savings account, not paying to any bank." I clicked to the next slide. Bank statements. Every single payment highlighted. "But you said," my father started. "I said I'd help you with the house. I did. I bought it so the bank wouldn't take it. I let you stay here. I charged you below market rent. But I never said you owned it." I clicked through slides showing our text message exchanges. Look at the language. The house. My property. Your payment on my house. Never once did I say your mortgage or your house. The words matter, Dad. They always mattered. Tyler stood up. "This is bullshit. You can't just." "Sit down, Tyler." My voice was ice. "I'm not finished." I clicked to the next section. Timeline of exclusions. Every holiday. Every birthday. Every family event where Rachel and I were uninvited or told we weren't expected. Thanksgiving 2019, extended family only. That's Rachel and me, your biological children. Christmas 2019, small gathering, immediate family only. We weren't included. Easter 2020, Zoom call with core family. We weren't invited. Rachel's birthday 2021, you didn't call. My birthday 2022, you sent a text 3 days late. Rachel was crying silently beside me. My father looked stricken. "But the real evidence," I continued, "is what your wife has been planning." I pulled up Linda's search history, her consultations with attorneys, her Facebook posts claiming they owned the house. Brittany gasped. Tyler looked at his mother with something between shock and disgust. Linda has been trying to figure out how to add her name to the deed of a house she doesn't own. She's consulted with multiple attorneys about her rights to this property. She's been planning to steal it. And Tyler, Brittany, you knew. I showed the photos from the investigator. Them at Starbucks, looking at property documents. "You're not family," I said quietly. "You're con artists who saw an opportunity. A widower with assets. Adult children he felt guilty about. An easy mark." Linda's face had gone from white to red. "You have no right?" "I have every right. It's my house." My father finally found his voice. "Why didn't you tell me? Why did you let me think?" "Because Mom asked me to take care of you, but she also taught me that true worth isn't measured in dollars. She taught me to let people show me who they are when they think I can't help them. And you showed me, Dad. You chose them over us. You told your daughter she was extended family. You told your son he wasn't expected for Christmas. You replaced Mom's children with Linda's children because Linda told you to." "That's not, I didn't." "Yes, you did." I closed my laptop. "You promised Mom, on her deathbed, that you'd take care of Rachel and me. Instead, you let Linda erase us from your life. For what? For companionship? For someone to share a house you don't even own?" The room was silent except for Rachel's quiet crying. Marcus arrived at 2:45, as I'd arranged. He knocked once and let himself in with the key I'd given him. "Mr. Morrison," he said, nodding to my father. "I'm Marcus Webb, Mr. Morrison's attorney. I'm here to discuss the terms of your eviction." "Eviction?" My father looked between us. "Son, please. This is my home." "No," I said gently. "It's my home. You've been a tenant. And now you're being evicted for non-payment and because I'm choosing not to renew your lease. You can't just throw us out on Christmas." Linda shrieked. "Actually, the 60-day notice was served December 20th. You have until February 20th to vacate. That's California law. More than generous, considering." Marcus pulled out additional documents. "Mr. Morrison Sr., we've also documented several instances of what could constitute fraud, specifically Linda Morrison's attempts to add her name to a deed through misrepresentation. We're prepared to file charges if you contest the eviction." Linda grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door. Tyler and Brittany scrambled after her. At the doorway, Linda turned. "Jim, are you coming?" My father looked at her, then at me. For the first time in 4 years, I saw something like clarity in his eyes. "You were going to steal the house," he said slowly. "You knew it wasn't mine." "Of course I knew," Linda snapped. "You think I'm stupid? I've been trying to fix the situation, to protect us from your ungrateful children who were obviously going to take everything." "Protect us?" My father's voice rose. "You were planning to steal property from my son. Your son who bought your house out from under you. Who's been charging you rent in your own home? Who's throwing you out on Christmas? My son who saved my house when I was about to lose it." My father was standing now, face red. "Who could have told me the truth any time and humiliated me, but didn't? Who let me keep my dignity while keeping a roof over my head? My son who I betrayed by choosing you and your criminal children over my own kids." Linda's face twisted. "If you're not coming with us, Jim, we're done." "We're done," my father agreed quietly. "Get out of my son's house." Linda left, slamming the door. Tyler and Brittany followed without a word. The silence that followed was enormous. My father sank into a chair. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so sorry. To both of you. Your mother, God, your mother would be so ashamed of me." Rachel crossed the room and hugged him. They both cried. I stood with Marcus, watching, feeling something loosen in my chest that had been tight for 4 years. "I don't want you to leave," I said finally. "This house was Mom's. She'd want you here. But I need to know you understand what happened. What you did. What you let her do to us." "I understand," he said. "I chose comfort over my children. I chose a woman I barely knew over the people who'd loved me their whole lives. I let her convince me that starting over meant leaving you behind." He looked up at me, eyes red. "Can you forgive me?" "Eventually," I said honestly. "But not today. Today, you have to sit with what you did. What you almost lost. What you chose." Marcus cleared his throat. "I'll leave the revised lease agreement. Same terms as before, but formalized properly. Month-to-month tenancy at $1,500 monthly. You'll sign as tenant, your son as landlord. Everything legal and clear." After Marcus left, the 4 of us sat in that living room, the room my mother had decorated, the room I'd bought to preserve, the room Linda had tried to steal. We didn't eat Christmas dinner. None of us had appetite. But we talked. Really talked. For the first time in 4 years. My father told us how Linda had slowly isolated him. How she'd convince him we were too busy, too successful, didn't need him. How she'd made him feel guilty for wanting to see us, like he was choosing favorites. How she'd promised him a new family, a fresh start, freedom from the grief. "She saw you grieving," Rachel said quietly. "And she used it." "Yeah," Dad agreed. "She did. That was 6 months ago. My father lives in the house still, paying rent like a proper tenant. He goes to therapy twice a week, working through his grief for Mom, his guilt about us, his anger at himself. He's dating again, but carefully. He introduces us before things get serious. He asks our opinion. He prioritizes us." Linda tried to sue me for emotional distress and loss of home. The case was dismissed immediately. Tyler and Brittany moved to Arizona with her. According to Facebook, they're struggling financially. I don't feel bad about that. Rachel and I spent Thanksgiving with Dad. Just the 3 of us. He cooked Mom's recipes. We told stories about her. We laughed and cried and started to heal. He asked me why I didn't just tell him the truth from the beginning. Why I played the long game. I told him what Mom taught me: true worth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in who you are when you think no one important is watching. I needed to know if you'd choose us when you thought we couldn't do anything about it. You didn't. But you get a chance to choose us now. Every day going forward. He's choosing us now. It's not perfect. There's still hurt. Still distance. But it's real. I learned something through this whole mess: blood doesn't make family. Loyalty and love do. My father shares my blood, but Linda's kids don't. Yet for 4 years, he treated them as family and us as strangers. It took losing everything, or thinking he was losing everything, to remember what mattered. I still own the house. I'll probably always own it. It was my mother's home. Protecting it is protecting her memory. But someday, when my father's gone, I'll sign it over to Rachel. She wants to keep it in the family. The real family. The one that shows up. The one that stays. So here's my question for you: what would you have done? If your parent chose someone else's kids over you, would you have walked away completely or done what I did, documented everything and waited for the perfect moment to reveal the truth? Tell me in the comments. And if you're watching from somewhere else in the world, let me know where you're from. I love knowing this story reached people who understand that family is about more than biology. If you've ever been replaced by someone shinier, someone newer, someone your parent thought was easier to love, I see you. You're not alone. Sometimes the people who should protect us choose comfort instead. But that's their choice, their failure, their loss. You deserved better. We all deserved better. And sometimes, the quietest revenge is just letting people face the consequences of their own choices while you stand there with the truth in your hands, watching them realize what they've lost. Thanks for listening to my story. My mom would have liked knowing her lesson reached someone who needed to hear it.